Hey, you little sinners and you saints. Tonight I'm going to do a presentation on Edmund Kemper, and I can already see my video messing up, so we're going to go ahead and kill that. And let's get into it. First, let's go to a couple of presentations that I've seen, and then we'll get into mine. Okay, obviously, we're talking about Edmund Kemper. He was born on December 18th, 1948, in Burbank, California. He has two sisters. Parents are divorced at the age of 9. He's 6'10", 300 pounds, and he killed 10 people. He sounds like a real winner, ladies. Mentally and physically abused by his mother and kids at school. I don't know how, if he's that big, but here we are. He's locked in the basement away from the rest of the family. His mother was worried that he was going to the R word, his sisters. He killed his grandparents as a teen. He was released after he killed them. He was released from the psychiatric care at the age of 22, then killed 8 more people, including his mother. Paranoid schizophrenia has paranoid schizophrenia has delusions and auditory hallucinations, but have normal intelligent functioning. What they're saying is he's paranoid schizophrenia, which entails the delusion and the hallucinations, whether it be auditory or visual. But he is intelligent. His IQ is like a 145, I think. The delusions can often be about being persecuted unfairly or being some other person who is famous. Symptoms are anxiety, aloofness, anger, sorry, it's late in the morning, I've had no sleep, argumentativeness, and disassociative. I would suggest using psychoanalytic, psychoanalytic approach because most of his problems were from his childhood. It would help. It would find more causes of his feelings. I don't know if he wants to talk too much about that, but he will tell you about how he used to decapitate people and fuck their heads. Determine how to deal with his feelings. Yes, of course. Understand his subconscious. I don't know who wrote this, but they are idiots. And here are some sites if you would like to go and check out additional information. There's one for the UK, Wiki. I would not recommend Wiki because anybody can do anything there. But there is synopsis and probably Westmore biography. So if you'd like to go check those out, you will go right ahead. Okay, our next one, Edmund Kemper. I don't know if this shit pop-ups. Edmund Kemper. He's the talk of the town. His childhood. Kemper's childhood was rough. He was, see, this says 6'4". I've also heard 6'9". Socially awkward teen. At the age of 15, his parents got a divorce when he was 9 years old. When he was 13 years old, he was buried. He buried a live pet cat, dug it up, decapitated it, and put its head on a stick and its body in his bedroom closet. His mother treated him badly and attacked his manhood and self esteem. She was always on his case and scolding him for everywhere he went. She was considered a bitter woman. He grew up frustrated and angry and later described himself as a walking time bomb. He ran away from his father's, who already moved in with another family member and was rejected and sent back home to his mother's house. She sent him to his father's grandparents in San Jose, California. He was around 15 years old when he took a 22 caliber rifle and shot his grandfather. I'm sorry, that his grandfather gave him. He shot his He was around 15 years old. You see, tired, very tired. He was around 15 years old when he took his 22 caliber rifle that his father gave him last year, which I don't know what year this was when this was written, um, and shot his grandmother in the head and 2 times in the back. He then stabbed her repeatedly 3 times in the back. She was arguing with him at the time and he lashed out with the rage he had kept inside from his mother. He said that he murdered her just to see how it would feel to kill grandma. Lovely words. That should be on a greetings card. He drugged his grandmother up into her room. His grandfather arrived home, and before he could even get inside, Kemper shot him from the window. He drugged his grandfather into the room also. He called his mother and confessed what he had done, waited on the porch to be taken into custody. Kemper was sent to a psychiatric testing and diagnosis was Kemper was sent for psychiatric testing and his diagnosis as having paranoid schizophrenia. He was also found to have a near genius IQ. Instead of staying in the facility operated by the youth authority, just a little side note. Let's see who else was in there. I think it was one of the tool. It was one of the toolbox killers. I think it was Norris. Fucking Norris. But anyway, operated by the youth authority, he ended up in a secure Astacarado, I don't know what the hell that is, state hospital for the criminally insane. He was released on his 21st birthday. He was 6'9", nearly 300 pounds. When he was released by the parole board from that hospital in 1969, the psychiatrist had advised that Kemper not return to Clarnell, that's his mother, Clarnell. I think it's Clarnell, because it could be a trigger for more violence. Yeah, you think. But Kemper did move in with Clarnell. We're gonna call her Miss C. You remember Happy Days? It's Miss C. And she took up attacking him again. As part of his parole requirements, Kemper went to community college and did well, but he hoped to get into the police academy one day. Yeah. When he learned that he was too tall, that's the reason he couldn't become a cop. He was too tall. His consolation was to hang out in the jewelry room, which is a bar, where the police gathered and listened to their stories. He got several different jobs and finally ended up with the California Highway Department. Not what you're thinking. Kemper's motive was that he loved having possession and complete control over women. His mother berating has ruined his self-esteem, and he felt dominating and taking the heads off of women was intoxicating like a drug to, I don't know, too high. I don't know why that's there. Obviously, there's something behind that little yellow dot, and I want to know what it is. No, we don't do that. We don't do ads. No, no, no. I want to. That's his mom. That her, her, her. You see the little hand? Her. This is what happens when you don't get good sleep. Okay, people. Kemper would prey on young female college students that hitchhiked the way to school. He would pick them up, take them to a deserted road, and murder them, stabbing them, shooting, suffocating, slitting their throats, and raping them, etc. Um, it's not professional to put that in writing, by the way. He would then bring them home to his mother's house. He would dismember each body of the victim he murdered. Sometimes he would have sexual intercourse with the heads and the bodies of the victims, and sometimes he would eat parts of them. We heard of necrophilia before. After dismembering them, he would take pictures and he would take the body parts and spread them all over Santa Cruz. He eventually murdered his mother and invited her best friend over and murdered her as well because he knew that she would be checking up on the mom, so he had to get rid of her ass too. Excuse me. Both had been decapitated and raped and then stuffed into, yeah, he did things to the mother's head, stuffed into his mother's closet in her duplex. His mother's friend had been battered and apparently used for dart practice. I'm sorry. I'm going to hell, don't worry. I just am picturing this. Like, who does this? Let me set her up on the mantle and throw darts at her. I don't know. Her tongue and larynx were chopped out. This is the mother, not the mother's friend. He put his mother's head up on the mantle and threw darts at her and took her tongue and larynx out because she had and put them in the garbage disposal, which spit them back out. Apparently, you can't use a garbage disposal to dispose of human bodies. Did not know that. But he did that because that way she couldn't berate him anymore. She couldn't down him. She couldn't, tell him what a bad person he is. This is Santa Cruz, California. If you didn't know, look at a map. Yay, ads. Okay, this is all the people that he killed. This is the grandmother. This is the grandfather. This is all the ladies that he killed. This is mom. The factors that led up to Kemper's getting caught was Kemper calling the police and turning himself in. This was after 3 days. He called yet he called, yet the cops didn't believe him at first. It was an honest call, and they told him and told them the exact places where he had buried the bodies and the body parts of the victims. They all knew him, so they didn't believe that he would do something like that. So that's why they thought it was a joke. They also did checks on places that he had mentioned. They found bones. So they took him into custody. November 8th, the jury found him guilty of 8 counts of first degree murder. He received the death penalty. He was convicted during the time when the Supreme Court had placed a memorandum on capital punishment, and all death sentences were commuted to life imprisonment. He told the judge that he believed he should be tortured to death. Instead, he was sentenced to life imprisonment. He was first sent to California Medical Facility Prison at Vaxil, north of San Francisco, for observation and ended up in maximum security in Folsom. He is in a mental institution as far as I know. And this here would be him. Man of the hour. Oh, come on with the ads. And this is why serial killers are difficult to spot, because there may be one reading this information to you. You never know. No. Um, but I mean, they look at Ted Bundy. Would you look at Ted Bundy and say, oh my God, he's a serial killer? No. I'd be like, I'll help you find your little lost dog. What are the most surprising pieces of information that you have learned from WebQuest? That I need to find a different way to find my information is what I figured out. Okay, here we go. Let's see what's going on here.
This incredible dental device is giving peace of mind for just $100. Dentists are calling it the next best thing to.
Yeah, to see why. There should be a little place to make it big. To make it big. No, 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 no. Oh, come on. Okay, we're gonna play this game. While we're waiting on that, let's look at the one that I created because you know me, I like putting dead bodies and stuff. Edmund Kemper by Jennifer Benavides. That's me. Here's your warnings. There's surveillance 24 hours, sensitive. There could be lights that flash that cause seizures. Warning. Things you may find disturbing. Warning. The killer's fault. Need a ride. I still want a shirt with that on it. Okay, that's Edmund Kemper, obviously in jail. This is him now. Isn't he a looker? This is when he first, I think, killed his grandma and grandpa and went to jail. But you can see how he towers over even the men. This is some of the slides that you'll see. This was his first murders, his grandma and grandpa. This was the victims, including his mother. This is his grandmother. This is their names. Honestly, I can't see them. And this is a rundown of the Santa Cruz area on November 1st, or maybe it's number 1. I don't fucking know. Mullins, I don't know what all that is. Then his mom's home. It started out, it showed in one documentary that the cops initially started looking at him because he had got a gun legally, but yet he had been in prison for killing his grandma and grandpa. So they come there to confiscate it. And he got it out of the trunk, but they didn't know he had the 22 up under his seat and more guns in the house along with dead bodies. So there's that. There's that. Okay. This is his mother's dead head. There's a cut it off. This is grandma and grandpa. Trigger warning, warnings, warnings, warnings. I mean, he is a killer. This is what killers do. This is the house that he grew up in. This is his mother's house. This is where his car was parked when the cops come to get the gun. When I see a pretty girl walking down the street, I think two things. One part of me wants to be real nice and sweet, and the other part wonders what her head would look like on a stick. Hmm. That's some of the bloody clothing from one crime scene. I don't know. And this is the mother or the mother's friend getting hauled out. This is one of the bodies. This is where he had buried his mother's head. He said that she always liked looking down on people, so he buried her head outside looking up at his room. This is one of the victims' personal stuff. And this is just his physical characteristics, other characteristics, theories discussed in research paper, um, cultivation theory, feminist theories, masculinity theories. Now we're learning about incel. And, I want to do some research on that because I've never heard of it until recently. And I don't know if he had girlfriends. So we might could start even classifying him as an incel. And in my other video, I discussed what that is. It's involuntary celibate. But I don't recall. I'll check it out though to make sure. But I don't recall them ever mentioning he had a girlfriend. And I'm not talking about the ones he was decapitating. So this is another thing that maybe we'll get to see. I don't know. Um, this is when he was born. This was his sister. This is his sisters. This is him and his sisters. This could be. Oh, that's him. I don't know who the hell that is. But I also wanted to show you a few little things because Mindhunter is a good movie if you have not watched it. It discusses a lot of serial killers. And if you're not up to date on your serial killers, you might want to be because you might not realize who they're talking to. Um, Obviously, it's not the real person in the movie, but it's a real good movie. He's supposedly Edmund Kemper, and him is what started criminal profiling. This is a thing, and they got a good guy that looks really close to Kemper. Can you imagine being locked in that cell with that guy? This is another one, another serial killer that was in the movie. And I thought that was pretty cool. And then this picture, I liked it. It was all right. Okay, that's the end of my little PowerPoint for this. Let's see. No, I don't think it's going to play. It's not going to play. So we're going to end it here. I would like to thank you all, my sweet, sweet people. Let me stop screen sharing for joining me tonight. I know this probably was not long. I don't know the time on it, but he was deviant, and I'm not gonna lie, he is, for the lack of a better word, he is my favorite serial killer. Um, I've always found him very interesting, and it's just the fact of the way he done things. And if you notice, serial killers. Let me see if this is gonna be. Oh, here I am. Okay. Um, Serial killers are like really smart. I don't understand. And I think that they're so smart that they think they can get away with anything. And I mean, like Bundy, Kemper, he wasn't terrible looking. Um, John Wayne Gacy, I wouldn't have trusted. I go for people's looks as far as you look kind of suspicious. So I don't know. Excuse me, but they're all really smart and cunning, and you never really know which person that you pass during the day that's a serial killer because odds are you probably pass a couple of them or watch their videos. No, I'm just kidding. Thank y'all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.